All right, number 5. What is your number 5, Dan?
Number 5 pick is The Martian. This is what I wanted Interstellar to be.
I think Interstellar was better, but okay.
I thought this movie was canyons, if I say light speeds, better than Interstellar.
I disagree.
Why I say that is because I feel like with Interstellar, I feel like it tried to be too much of itself, where The Martian, it didn't have to. I felt like The Martian was more of a personal story, and that it found the sense of humor in the situation, which I felt like Interstellar lacked of. Which I know they have to, take some stuff seriously, but you got to remember these are human beings as well. And I felt like, I felt like with Interstellar, everyone had the same characteristic. Martian, there were different varieties of different characters, and they felt like real people. They didn't feel like they were written in movie-like characters, but these felt like people you could talk to, or you felt like you could relate to them. And it was one of the performances, like, Matt Damon has to pretty much be Tom Hanks in Castaway, pretty much. It's Castaway.
Well, it's Castaway in space, yeah.
And when I was watching it, it was one of the, aside from the Bourne movies, which we spoke about earlier, this was one of the first films where I was like, I did not see Matt Damon, I saw Mark Watney, and the way how this was Ridley Scott's comeback into directing, at which I had to watch something that was the shitstorm that was The Counselor, which is horrendous. I didn't even see Exodus, but I heard it was boring as shit. But The Martian was definitely a film that got him back on his A game. It got him an
Oscar
nomination for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, Best other things, and is now considered, one of the greatest films of all time.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Well,
so
it's in the top 250 now.
Okay, let me just state for the record. Martian is not in my top 10. I thought it was a well-made movie. I thought it used practical effects very well as CGI effects. Appropriately, very appropriately. I think Ridley Scott is a good director, if not a great director. He's one of the pros.
That's why I think that before he was a good director, this was the film that made him prove that
he still has great director. No. Okay, so this is the thing. Like, I think this is a good comeback for him. I don't think it's even one of his best films, but I still think it's a good movie. I liked it. I think Matt Damon was good in it, and I think the cast and the actors were good in it. But for me, it just was a good movie. It just was good, but I didn't think it was amazing. That being said, I had a good time in the theater. I would recommend it to a friend maybe to see. Huh?
It did have like the vibe of a blockbuster.
Kind of, but like it was just like kind of more of a character piece. But that being said, I think it was well made. I'm not against it, but it wasn't one of my favorites. But I'm glad Ridley Scott has gone back on more of his A game and is getting back to making better movies, and hopefully next one he'll
for a fact
make
that
will be great.
Neil deGrasse Tyson loves the hell out of this movie.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I was surprised on how funny the movie was.
No, it was good.
Like I said with Age of Ultron, this is one of those films where you have to find the sense of you, and he does, because he is on this planet that he is the only person there. And if he stays depressed for that amount of time, like the movie's about 2.5 hours, he's just going to be uninteresting. He has to try to figure out a way how to entertain himself with, because he spends God knows how many years. How many years does he spend?
I think he spends a year on that planet. I
thought it was 4 years.
No, well, I think it's like a year or a little bit over a year. I think he was supposed to spend.
I know he loses weight and starts.
He was supposed to be on there for 4 years, but they grab him in a short amount of time because they go back for him.
Another thing I wanted to point out were his crew members. Now they are not with each other, Matt Damon and the crew, for a very long time.
Yeah,
but they had. You could tell they were a family. Every moment on screen, they had better chemistry than Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway did in Interstellar.
Okay, I'm gonna
when it comes to
all right, just be.
I'm sorry.
All right, no. I just want to stop you. I just want to stop you there. I want to stop you there because again, I feel The Martian was more of a crowd-pleasing film, which is what it was meant to be, and that's totally fine, and it's a good movie. Interstellar was not meant to be crowd pleasing. Interstellar was about science fiction, and it's meant to be more about the journey rather than necessarily about the characters. Granted, the idea was at its heart, it was meant to be about Matthew McConaughey and his daughter. That was the main story behind everything. That was like the heart of the film.
Yeah.
It was more about him arguing with his cast and crewmates, and he does go back for Anne Hathaway in that movie, but it was more about the science fiction in that, rather than the science and the astronauts interacting on the ship. That's what it wasn't about. It was about something bigger.
I just felt
So
like
I think comparing the two is a little bit silly because they're both entirely different films trying different things. They're not trying to be the same film.
Like, in my opinion, I just feel how weird it is that the Ridley Scott film is better than the Christopher Nolan film.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Chris Nolan, who is one of my top 5 favorite directors, he isn't as experienced as Ridley Scott, but Ridley Scott has made a lot of different types of films and whatnot, and Chris Nolan is still, I think still in a lot of ways still finding his voice. But again, I think Chris Nolan is an accomplished director. I like the movie but more than The Martian, but I still think The Martian is a nice film.
Yeah,
so,
it
right.
definitely earned my number 5 pick. So your number 5.
Yeah, we need to keep moving this along.
Yeah.
The good thing is I just looked in our list on our top 3 are all exactly the same in the exact order. So you and I can just talk exactly back and forth about one movie after the next.
Perfect.
So my number 5 is The Reverend. I just saw this movie the other day. I know it's very fresh in my mind. So it's but that being said, it is a very well done movie. This is directed by the guy who did Birdman and another.
Gonzalez Inarritu.
Yes, I can never pronounce it, but thank you. I couldn't pronounce his name, but very, very good director. Honestly, though, the best thing about this movie, I mean, granted, it's a very well done made story. It's very good pacing, good acting all around. But the best thing about this movie is the cinematography. The cinematography in this film is amazing. If it doesn't win the Oscar for cinematography, I will be generally pissed.
If Leo doesn't get the Oscar for Best Actor, I'm going to be pissed.
If anything, he should just get a special consideration. I mean, like you saw that he put his ass in this movie. Like he worked his ass off. I'd be pissed if he doesn't get something out of this. But very well made movie. I can't go too much into it because really, like, it spoils a lot. I mean, you obviously get an idea from the trailer and everything, but I actually don't want to spoil too much for you because that's really the experience of the film.
Right.
I will say that it's a story about frontiersmen. One of them is betrayed, and then he has to work his way through Mother Nature beating the living shit out of him the entire movie.
The movie should have just been called Leo versus Nature.
Yeah, it's incredible on that front. But I mean, overall, it's a good piece. It's a good piece of just using practical and CGI effects as well. But just you really get a feel for that old frontiers nature and just what that meant and like how much we had to survive before we got a little bit more civilized and central heating and everything else. But it's good, man. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Now,
it's funny that you bring that up. Are we talking about our number 4s now?
Well, no, I would say yeah, that's going to be your have you talked about your number 5 was
talked about my number 4 yet.
Oh no, yeah, number 5 is Martian. Okay. Yeah, actually go into it because your thing
my number 4 pick
is the Reverend. Yeah, okay, so go into it then.
Well, with the Revenant, I was very much looking forward to this because Birdman was my favorite film of 2014.
It really was a great fucking movie.
So
I liked the movie a lot.
Into this, I was expecting a lot, and it delivered. I do know a few. Should I say some of the facts that people might not know about this movie?
About Reverend?
Yeah.
If you want to, as long as it's not too spoilerish, I guess.
No. They shot this film for 9 months. It's all on location, and there's no studio lighting. All the lighting is from the sun and the fire. So it was pretty much like, okay, we got an hour and a half to make this shot perfect. If we don't, we got to do this all over again. And that's why it took so long. And with the dedication, Leo, I feel like with Leo, he gets better with each performance he does. And this was more of a physical performance. Like he
has very little dialogue in this film.
Yeah. I would say that, we've always spoken about how Tom Hardy is a physical actor. Like, he mainly acts with his body movement and his eyes. I feel like Leo has been doing the same thing in this one. So they pretty much have to physical act each other out. And this is also the second time that they've acted with each other in Inception. So it was a nice little reunion. Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio, one of his best performances ever. Tom Hardy is on his A game. Domhnall Gleeson as the captain. It was
good.
He was the one who really surprised me. Will Poulter, aka Eyebrows from Voyage of the Dawn Treader. He was the little cousin, and he was also kind of the villain in Maze Runner. He was one of the. He's one of those actors who just gets better and better. Another breakout performance.
Yeah, it was good.
And
very good.
The amount of dedication that Leo puts into this role, like, he really had to eat a real bison liver.
Yeah.
I swear to God. Like,
no. I'm not saying it's not,
The amount of dedication that man puts into his work, and that he's never gotten an award for it. I mean, he's gotten a Golden Globe for it, but nothing more than that just frustrates the living hell out of me.
I would honestly be surprised if he doesn't get the win this year.
Well, we do have
on that same topic you were saying though, is that back in the old Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, the old movies, the zombies used to eat old discarded butcher shop organs. Like, when you're seeing a zombie eat something, they were actually eating raw organs. You were saying, like, he ate a bison liver or whatever.
And he had to cut open a dead horse and like, sleep in it.
The old zombie movies, like, the extras, the zombies, had to eat actual meat. They weren't human meat, but it was still... Anyway, sorry.
No.
Random factoid. Haha.
Yeah, it's just... This is one of those films that I kind of hope wins Best Picture, and it deserves the Best Picture, it deserves Best Actor, and it deserves Best Director, and everybody, they said it was a living hell making this movie. Well, look how it turned out. It turned out to be my number 4.
It was really good. I definitely recommend seeing it if you haven't yet. My number 4, we talked about this earlier, but was Mad Max. I really dug the hell out of this movie. Now, I said earlier when I first heard about it, I said, okay, they're bringing back Mad Max. We'll see how that fucking goes. And then I saw, the actual original director is doing this. He's not just involved as a producer. He's actually directing the film. That's interesting.
Right.
Oh, it's not Mel Gibson. It's Tom Hardy. That's interesting. Okay. And they've got Charlize Theron in this. All right. Well, see where that goes.
And Toe Cutter.
Yeah, and the original gang leader, Toe Cutter, from the first Mad Max is Immortan Joe, the main bad guy in this one, though not related. They're two separate characters, but still. No. But that being said, this was, a surprise on some level. When I saw the Comic-Con trailer, I knew right away what the tone was going to be, and I said, wow, this is they're really pulling out all the stops. They're trying to make this like the old Mad Max films. And, again, I thought maybe there was a chance, it could be entirely it was false advertising or something. But then the film came out, and it was really cool. There's a bit CGI here and there, but honestly, it's more of use of obviously you can't make a giant mountain with a skull face in it. You have to make that CGI.
Or lightning, fire, tornado.
Exactly, that's a little bit harder to come by.
You can't do that. I can do that shit.
Oh, okay.
I do that every Thursday.
Magical powers.
We don't need to know what goes on in the bathroom.
We really don't. Anyway. But no, honestly, from an action scale and just from a fun, honestly, Furiosa is one of the best female heroes in a long time. I haven't seen.
After seeing Charlize Theron in that, I had full confidence where I thought to myself, I really want Charlize Theron to play Captain Marvel. Captain
Marvel being of the Marvel Comics character.
Yes.
Yeah, not to be confused with the DC character.
Yes.
But yeah, honestly though, Furiosa is one of the best female characters since Ripley from the Alien series. Really just hardcore, badass.
Or Sarah Connor.
Or Sarah Connor, exactly, from Terminator 2. Just badass, wants to kick your ass, wants to get stuff done. Just, wholeheartedly, her heart's in the performance. She finds out something tragic in the film, and you see it in the trailer, she just is, laying on kneeling and just, screaming. That looks real to me. No, we're not doing the Darth Vader, no.
Shoot.
Don't even compare it to that.
Just seeing that, I was
but good, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Just seeing that, I was like, I find that believable. I really do. It doesn't seem phoned in.
We're back on Mad Max.
Yeah, you're talking earlier about a scene. I was telling you to shut the fuck up, but it was just basically
there's scenes where there's just I would like to know
what happened.
There
is a scene.
It goes without. It doesn't need explanation. But me being a moviegoer, I like knowing the backstory. I like knowing the plot.
Yeah.
Like the random, like the Quagmire characters that are on like stilts and stuff.
Yeah, who were those characters?
Random fucking people, but like I was like, all right, like who are they? Like what are they doing? Like why are they doing this?
But that's the point.
You don't know
because it's part of the environment.
You don't need to know. That's what I'm saying before. It's like you don't need to know. It doesn't have anything to do with the plot. It doesn't have anything to do with the story. But me as like a writer, I'm like, I would like to know what's their backstory. Like why are they there? Like you don't need to know it at all. And like honestly, I feel like if they did explain it, it would only drag it out.
Yeah.
But I'm still curious as to who they were, what they were doing.
Honestly, I mean, there's some of the older movies used to do that. They would have things that weren't explained, and that was it. And you just kind of had to put it together yourself. Maybe it'll get explained later in some other movie.
Saying. A great movie. Like I'm not trying to say it isn't.
No.
I'm just sitting there just being like, I would love to know that backstory.
No, I hear you, man.
It just goes to show less is more.
Very true.
Yeah, I like that it wasn't spoon-fed. I mean, the only thing that you and I really wholeheartedly both agreed on, though, is there's a scene where they're stuck in the mud and they're pulling the truck out of the mud with a tree, and the bullet farmer is going for them.
And Max goes to fight them.
Yeah, I mean this is a spoiler, but really,
I wish that fucking scene.
But basically, but you see him go off in the distance. You see an explosion because it's in fog,
and then he comes
back, and you know he defeated the guy, but you want to know how he defeated him.
And then one of the chicks is like, "Oh, you need a band-aid for that blood," and Furiosa's like, "That's not his blood." Like,
yeah.
I would have loved to have seen that fight scene. Everybody would have loved to have seen that. Like, Max taking off, like, that whole, like, that car, like, troop of guys with a bunch of guns. That would have been so fucking sick. But, like, you don't see it at all. And, like, you come back and you're like, alright, Max is a badass. We already know that he fucking just destroyed all of them. And we don't get to see it. That would have been, like, the best fight scene of the movie, and we don't get to see it.
There was one thing I wanted to mention where this may be another unpopular opinion, but in a retrospect, I kind of thought Tom Hardy did a better job playing Mad Max than Mel Gibson.
Oh, fuck you.
Well,
I would say, no. To be fair, Mel Gibson is Mad Max.
Not as like a performance.
No. I'm just saying, in Road Warrior, Mad Max, that is like the best Mad Max's Road. I still like Road Warrior, even to some degree, almost more than Fury Road.
Where is Max's journey in the first one?
What? The only thing that I will say is, Tom Hardy wouldn't have a character to play if it wasn't for him beforehand.
True, but like
so
all the other times, it's like Mad Max. Like he's got to he has like everything together a little bit. Where in this one, Mad Max lives up to the name where he is mad. He is crazy.
No, but the original movies is his descent into madness. All the shit that happens to him in the first movies is him losing, because if you look at like the first one compared to this one, they're so different.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's his descent into going crazy. All the shit that happened to him is why he went fucking crazy. Like, his wife and his child being, like, fucking murdered. And, like, all the other, like, this stuff happening is what made him go fucking crazy. That's why the whole thing, like, I don't know who's more crazy, me or everyone else.
And it goes to show,
because, like,
he is the
the world around him is getting worse and worse and worse.
And he
too is getting worse and worse and worse.
He's already gotten to that though, where it's like he has lived up to the name.
Well, the thing that I like about every
you can't compare them because it's him descending into madness.
I probably might
as opposed to wrong. Like
the thing is that apart from the first Mad Max movie, is that I like how every one of them, it shows him wanting to do things for himself, but he always ends up helping out like the underdog. Yeah, the underdogs, and he always helps them out.
He always tries to help other people.
Yeah.
Whereas even with this one, even like the people who capture him, he even when he's trying to shake off the mask and he's holding that gun to Furiosa, but then he still is like, alright, like, I can agree with what they want, even though they just captured me, even though I am their prisoner, I want to help them. That's Mad Max. Like, sure, the world is fucking crazy, but I can agree with their crazy more than I agree with their crazy.
Yeah, because like I may be their prisoner, but these people over here have a sense of morality.
Exactly. That's Max.
Yeah. Either way, great fucking movie. I can't wait for the next one. I know George Miller is doing one smaller film in between this and the next Mad Max, but I hope to God he
It's
can.
rumored to be titled Mad Max: The Wastelands.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But again,
As you know, that narrows it down.
well, George Miller
The
said
whole world is a fucking wasteland.
George-
Where's
George-
it gonna go now?
George Miller said that's a working title. He honestly doesn't know what the next movie will be, but
I would be
he has written it
down
though.
for that.
I know that much. He wrote they
Yeah.
wrote out more, so we'll see how it goes. But all right, I think the next
And
few
plus, with that whole fucking face mask, Bane, what's up?
Bane again. But I think okay, so the next three, you and I need to bang these out really quick
Okay.
because but again,
Sorry.
you and I have the same exact three in the same exact order. So let's just talk about them.
All right.
Both are for our number 3 was Inside Out.
Inside Out, yes.
I think it will definitely win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's one of Pixar's best films, probably since Toy Story 3.
It is probably in their top 5 best Pixar movies ever.
It really is a good film. What the best part about it is that you legitimately get angry at them keeping sadness around to the point where you're wondering why you have sadness as an emotion, and then they explain why sadness needs to be part of your emotional spectrum.
Yeah,
That's basically the best way I
This
can.
is probably one of the best voice casting choices that they've ever done in a long time because everybody who voices a character, everyone is spot on. It doesn't
Mhm.
feel like it's left out. Like especially Louis Black,
As anger.
he is finally being used for his potential instead of these like shitty teen movies.
Yep, it's great to see what he can do in a Pixar film.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what the movie's about, obviously it's about all the emotions playing out in a little preteen girl's head and the transition of what the emotions have to deal with when she has to deal with moving to a new place. And that,
AKA schizophrenia.
well, no, she's not schizophrenic, but
You're right,
it's
she's
a very simple plot.
Right.
And you'd think it'd be like the most boring thing ever, but the way it's done is very comedic, very sad, very emotional. Huh?
Very clever.
Very clever, and both works for children and adults. It's exactly what Pixar is geniuses at and doing so well. It's one of the best
essentially
films
if
they've ever done.
Osmosis Jones was good.
I liked Moses Jones for what it was. It
Or
was
Herman's Head, whatever.
there's something called Herman Said, a TV show way back in the day, but it is one of the best. I can't really say much else without spoiling too much else about the film, but it's great. It's a very well animated movie. If you have kids,
I
go
did
see it.
tear
If you're an
up.
adult, go see it.
I teared up 3 times in it. So where
Yeah.
Bing Bong.
Bing Bong. I got sad. But again, I don't want to spoil too much about that.
Yeah.
But But it's okay. So anyway, it's one of the best Pixar films. If you're a fan of animation, there's not much else I can really say to recommend it. It's just one of the best films of the year.
Yeah.
Would you say? You'd say the same?
Oh, without a doubt. Like that's why it's my number 3.
Oh, number 3, and same here. Okay, so our number 2, same exact thing.
The
Hateful Eight.
Eight.
Hateful Eight.
I can't remember the last time where I was sunk into my seat, clenched on, with my heart beating out of my chest for at least half the movie. Like the second half, I thought to myself, anything can happen now.
Yeah, the thing
Without
is,
giving too much away.
the thing is too. And I'm saying the thing, no pun intended. But one of the main aspirations behind Hateful Eight was John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
But that being the said, not that one of them is like a mysterious alien, but the fact that like you don't know who to trust throughout the entire movie, apart from maybe like 1 or 2 characters, and that's about it. Everybody else is up for grabs.
I wanted to bring something up about that, was that it is partially inspired by The Thing, and there is a bit of music that plays that Ennio, how do you pronounce his last name?
I believe it's Morricone.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was he wrote the soundtrack to The Thing,
Yes.
and when John Carpenter heard it, he said, "This is a good soundtrack, but I don't want it to be this. I don't want it to be this complicated. It can actually be very, very simple. I want it more like this." And so there was actually unused music that he wasn't able to use in the film.
Which is
Tarantino took that music, right, and
yes,
then
it's called Bestiality.
yeah.
Yes, strange. It's seriously, it's called Bestiality,
I don't.
and
Yeah.
it's used during that scene. I will say, like after the intermission,
Okay.
it's being played. But now every time I hear it, you could put that music on anywhere you want, whether you're walking around the mall or if you're eating dinner with your family. You put that music on, it changes the tone all around you.
Hmm.
Like, and it just fits in so well how Tarantino uses music from the thing that actually wasn't in the movie and used it for his own movie.
Yeah, it should be noted too. The funniest thing about that is that he used Morricone's music beforehand in Django, like a snippet of the music, and Morricone did not like how he had used it, and he said he'd never work with Tarantino.
Now, which scene was that in?
I don't know. I don't know where it was used, but that was the joke. And now he was able. Tarantino wanted him to score the whole film of Hateful Eight, and he got him to do it, and he got nominated for it. So I think that worked out in both their favors.
Yeah. Isn't Ennio nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Score?
Yes. I was also pissed though too that this film itself did not get nominated for Best Picture. I'm
glad that at least Jennifer Jason Leigh is nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
She did. Okay, good.
But the ones
she definitely deserves it.
The ones who I thought absolutely stole the show were Samuel Jackson as Major Marcus Warren, but my favorite one, Walton Goggins.
Walton Goggins had a really good role. Tim Roth was interesting in this. Very different.
It was so much fun, but I felt like the reason why I like Walton Goggins more than anyone in this was because his character had the most layers. Like, you don't know whether you should trust this guy. You don't know if he's a good guy or if he's a bad guy,
or if he's just an idiot, or if he's smarter than he looks.
If he's telling the truth, if he's a liar.
Yeah,
that's what makes him more interesting. He's like, I'm the new sheriff, but there is no proof at all
that he's actually the sheriff.
So we have to take his word for it.
Yeah.
But you watch him, and he's so fascinating. Like, every other character, they have a set place. His character is all over the place, which makes him far more fascinating.
Yeah, it's really good. And also, I should say that, again, just like The Thing, Kurt Russell has a cool performance in this too. That
was one of the few times where I forgot that it was Kurt Russell.
Oh no, that's Kurt Russell. But definitely a cool role in this movie. Yeah. Overall, I thought it was a very entertaining and very well made film. I mean, it's not going to get nominated for Best Picture. Kill Bill wasn't nominated either, so it is what it is. But that being said, one of my favorite movies of the year. Just a fun ride, and I saw it too, both in the regular version and the 70mm version.
I still need to see the 70mm.
Yeah, there's not too much of a difference as far as like what's in it and what's not. I think there's maybe a little bit cut here and there,
what about quality of the film?
Quality film. I mean, it looks like an old movie. It looks. I saw it in a great theater, so I felt like I was actually watching the original like movie premiere. But you can see the cigarette burns in the film, so you know when the next scene is basically gonna happen. So. But it felt like an old movie. It was great. And our number one pick for both of us.
I think we should say this at the same time. 3, 2, 1.
Star Wars:
The Force Awakens.
Yes, Episode 7. Now I'm going to be honest with you right off the bat. I think there are one or two movies.
Kylo Ren is a bitch. Yeah.
Kylo Ren is a bitch.
You shut your whore mouth.
Okay, so the thing is, I felt there were many films that were better than Star Wars in many ways this year. Like, as far as, like, way they were made or way they were written. But honestly, and again, this goes back to me liking blockbusters, but honestly, this film knew exactly what to do with what it was going to be. Like, I mean, there are nitpicks. I can nitpick it to death, but for me, it was a great blockbuster. I've seen this movie, like, 7 times. It's fun. It's so fun. It felt like there's a lot of people saying like the magic is back, and that's basically the best way that I can explain it.
It is a rare opportunity for my number one most anticipated movie to be my number one favorite picture of the year. That hasn't happened to me since 2008 when The Dark Knight came out.
Yeah,
Ever since then, I always had like a most anticipated film, but my favorite movie was always something else. Not till this time has that ever happened for me, because this movie. It hit me on an emotional level, not thinking, this deserves a better grade rating right over here, but it's more of like, you know what, it has a special place in my heart for me. Throughout the majority of the time, you saw it with me, and I was like smiling throughout the entire thing, and I was like on the edge of my seat on like what would happen next. You got great character, Rey. Fantastic character.
Rey's cool. Yeah, Finn's cool. Poe Dameron is cool.
Kylo
Ren is again. He is very much an emotional brat, but there's layers to him, and I like that.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I thought he was my favorite character.
Okay, I can understand that.
Well, because he, again, yes, he does have layers to him. But I felt like, this was one of the more human villains that he just wasn't evil just for the sake of being evil. That he actually felt
I like as the film went along. They fleshed out his character.
It wasn't like he wanted to be evil. It felt more like he had
I'm waiting
to
for
be
the
evil.
next movies to make him a better villain.
He's gonna upgrade him. I feel like he's gonna be evil.
Yeah, and the thing is too.
Well, he already killed his father.
Yeah.
So therefore, he's already on his the destined path to the dark side. I'm waiting for him to be better as a villain. We already see that he has control of the dark side of the Force. We already see that he has very strong Force powers. But I feel like as a villain, he needs to evolve more as a villain.
Yeah.
Sure, he's
Well,
strong
that's
enough.
what sequels are for.
He's strong. That's what I'm saying. I'm waiting to see what he evolves into in the next movies. Sure, he's got Force powers, but he's still a little fucking emo bitch to me.
The thing is too. If we're
I'm
going,
waiting for him
if
to evolve more to actually be a stronger villain.
no, I agree. I just want to state.
I want to see Rey develop into a stronger protagonist and a stronger
and I agree
Force user
too.
and a Jedi.
I'm just saying.
Both of them, I feel like need to develop over the next movie.
If we're
It's a great
using
introduction, but I'm waiting to see where they go.
Oh,
If-
we're definitely.
if we're using
Well,
old Star Wars as an example, I think we should state this because we know the trilogy so well.
Clearly he's not Darth Vader yet.
No. But what I'm saying is,
Darth Vader, and he's wanting to build it up.
what I'm saying is, if you watch the old Star Wars, just Star Wars by itself, Darth Vader is not that fleshed out. He doesn't start to get really fleshed out until Empire Strikes Back.
If you actually watch the original one again, he only has 9.5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, he's not in it very much.
Kylo Ren has a lot more screen time than Darth Vader ever
and yet he
did.
still doesn't do enough.
No,
Well-
he actually did a lot more, in my opinion. We actually know what his background is. We actually know why he did what he did. We got to see, when he's having his temper
I see
tantrums,
him
I
as
thought
a-
to myself, that is someone I do not want to piss
I
off.
see Kylo Ren as a teenager,
His-
being all angsty, and
Yeah.
being I want to do better.
but that's what I like about him.
But that's what I'm saying. I think he has the room to grow.
what
We
Kylo
already see
Ren-
that he's strong, but in my mind, he's still a weak antagonist.
kind of. But
He
what
still has room to grow, but that's why this is the first in the next 3 movies.
I felt like his role.
If he's already amazing in this first movie, there's nowhere for him to go.
I felt
That's
like
why I'm
he
saying
is-
there's room for him to grow.
I felt like he is what Anakin Skywalker in the prequels should have been like.
Yeah, fuck Anakin Skywalker.
But one of the characters who I thought,
I'm sorry, we're all thinking it.
the guy,
Come on.
the one,
Anakin Skywalker
Oh.
sucked in the prequels.
oh, without a doubt,
Alright.
one of the characters who I thought absolutely stole the show, Harrison Ford coming back as Han Solo.
Yeah.
As soon as when I went to go see it with you, as soon as
I
him
think
and
Chewie.
when him and Chewie came on screen, the whole theater roared with applause.
My
And
big
it was
thing
such
is
a-
we
I
already
teared up.
spoilers
Yeah,
already.
we've already done our whole review.
So after Mr. Solo there died and Chewie just goes fucking berserk, that was a part that I loved. After
he
he
yelled in the air, that
and just fucking shoots 4 people
Yeah.
off the bat, and I'm just like, fuck you,
Just-
yeah, Chewie,
just
I
fucking
want to see you.
shoots Kylo Ren.
I want to see you rip the arms off of somebody and just be like, "Roar!"
What I liked about Chewie is that they actually put more emotion in his face.
Hmm.
If you notice,
Well,
when you know that he's angry.
how many years ago did they first introduce Chewie?
1977.
Technology has advanced since then.
True, but it was still practical at the same time. Well, I guess one of my nitpicks was that Captain Phasma did jack shit.
Right?
But
That
then
was
again,
something
so
I
did
said
Boba
right
Fett.
after coming out of the movie. I was just like, well, I hope she has more in the next movie because
I would hope
she
so.
didn't do anything.
I'm
For her
really
to be like a
interested-
big presence in being like, oh, we got a stormtrooper who's all in silver with a shoulder fucking cape or whatever.
and then you think
She
it's a
didn't do
fucking female-
anything.
Well, to be fair, she's pretty much a female Boba Fett, and Boba Fett did jack shit.
And she isn't though. Boba Fett was his own lone bounty hunter. She's like a captain of the guard type of thing. Whereas I'm still hoping that she couldn't have died on that fucking base.
She's been confirmed for us today.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so she's
I'm
coming back.
hoping that was just the introduction of her, she needs to do more.
I'm kind of
Needs to
interested
do more,
to see
right?
and
You agree?
No, I totally agree. The guy who yells traitor, TR-AR has more fan base than Captain Phasma does right now.
because it's a stormtrooper that actually does fight back. Like I saw that for the first time, I was like,
Well, I feel like, but to make her as a character, but then she really doesn't do anything. You're just like, wait a second, like in all the promo shit, you showed her off, like you were focusing her as like a character, but then she didn't actually do anything. I pray that she actually does stuff in the next movies, because otherwise, like, why did you make her unique?
you know what?
Why isn't she just in like fucking normal stormtrooper armor? You want to make her fucking silver chrome armor, but then she doesn't do anything.
This
Like she gets
probably
fucking captured. She has like fucking 4 lines. Like
This
give me a
probably
break.
sounds cliched in my mind, but I hope that at a moment when she takes her helmet off, that she's just bald with like a scarred face.
Oh
That'd
no!
be cool.
I want to see her as like Game of Thrones.
Just
like
straight up Brienne Tarth.
Rand Tar.
One
and
character
she actually just says that too. Like I am Rand of Tar. We're like, wait a second.
Like one character who I kind of want to see more is General Hux, played by Domhnall Gleeson.
Yeah.
I know he wasn't given up. He was pretty much.
Well, they were trying to make a new Grand Moff Tarkin who lives, basically. So
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
I just love that speech that he gives, where he's just looking at the camera.
Like a Hitler-esque thing.
Yeah, Hitler-esque
I
type
was like really
spiel.
getting into that. I was just backing into my seat, just him screaming like, "This will be the end of the Republic!" And then they just give that Heil Hitler salute, and I'm just. This is more Third Reich, like them taking.
They're not being subtle about the Nazi stuff anymore.
One
Is what's
fact
happening.
that people may not know, Finn's stormtrooper name, FN2187, is actually Leia's cell door number.
Yeah,
from
some
episode
fans
10.
caught that. They figured that out.
Now another character, Supreme Leader Snoke.
Yeah.
He's a character. I want to see more of this character.
Speculation that
yeah.
he's going to be Darth Plagueis, Darth Bane, there's a lot of
Andy
it's gonna be
Serkis
someone else.
confirmed that he's not Darth.
Well, he said that.
Hey, you know what? Benedict Cumberbatch
Said he wasn't Khan either.
He confirmed that he was not Khan in the last Star Trek movie. Guess what? He was. So
Yeah.
therefore, an actor saying he's not somebody before the movie comes out doesn't mean shit.
Yep.
It just means that they're not allowed to contractually, like, from their contract, they're not allowed to say that they are or not. He can deny it as much as possible, but guess what? It might still be true.
I was glad to see also Leia return.
I was glad to see all of them.
Mature.
Lando's not in this, but he will be back, I believe, in the next episode.
There was
Episode
a-
8.
The fun thing about Leia is all over like the internet forums and everything, whereas everybody's like, oh my god, like Leia's son is like turned to the dark side, and like Anakin turned to the dark side. Leia, her parents died, her adoptive parents died, her entire family and like entire planet was murdered. Now her husband has died, and yet Leia has not turned to the dark side yet. So therefore, the Skywalker boys all turn to the fucking dark side, but Leia is still strong in like the Force. Like,
So where do you think Luke Skywalker is going to be? Do you think he's going to get killed off?
no,
Yeah, Luke.
I feel like he's gonna be
that's why he showed up at the end. Luke Skywalker.
He's going to be like the Kenobi Yoda, basically.
If he's going to die, it's going to be in the third movie. It's not going to be in the next one. He was just introduced at the end of this first one. It's not going to be in this next one. It's going to be in the third one.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if he does, it'll be like 1/3 to halfway through it, and then it will all resolve.
I feel like
But Luke will not die in this next. I pray that he doesn't die in the next one. He might. They might fucking kill him off.
There's a rumor that Benicio del Toro will be in episode 8 as a
Oh no
villain.
shit.
Yeah, I could see him as like
I-
Supreme Leader Snoke's right hand that Kylo Ren is trying to be, but he's a lot more mature, and Kylo Ren's just even more furious and what he's
And-
like. He's working
An
with him,
immature little
but,
emo bitch.
but like inside it, he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. But I feel like we should talk about like the 4 main characters that we haven't gotten to talk about. Like for instance, first off, BB-8.
BB-8's an awesome invention.
I'm gonna be honest. I
Good
love
droid.
BB-8 way more than R2D2 and C3PO combined.
I can see
Because
I can see C3PO, but I grew up with R2D2. I
I
don't.
grew up with
but I love-
R2D2 as well. But
The
I feel
one
like
thing I will say.
BB-8 did so much more. I thought he had a lot more personality.
That's exactly what I was going to touch upon. is that BB-8 has a characterization to him. R2 was much more of a droid. He did not have a personality to him per se. If we're talking episode 4, 5, 6, in episodes 1, 2, and 3, fuck that because R2 has fucking jetpacks. He has all this other shit. That's not R2.
I think like the only thing that they ever reference from the prequels is Hux. It mentions.
I knew
like, the
moment I love BB-8 is when he does the
Thumbs up?
Yeah, the thumbs up.
Oh my god.
The lighter thumbs up. The lighter thumbs up, he does that. I was just like, oh my god, this guy's awesome.
The voice of BB-8, the voice work
is
Ben Schwartz and Bill Hader.
Yeah, for SNL. Yeah, but like, he has a personality to him, which is what you need with characters. Characters need a personality, even if they're
droids. I thought he was more functional than R2-D2.
C-3PO, you're supposed to hate C-3PO.
What kind of droid is BB-8?
He's a BB unit.
What is a BB unit? Because obviously
one that rolls around.
A basketball. No,
right. No,
a
function. Like R2-D2 was an astromech droid. He's out there, do ships and do shield work and other functions on ships.
They just call him a BB unit. They don't go into any further detail, but
right, because they're all programmed with they had a certain function. Like even 3PO, he's a vertical droid.
What is R2's function?
He's an
R2
astromech
droid. Like he does like a bunch of like ship stuff, yada yada yada.
I think they can go.
I think BB-8 is just a version of an astromech.
They just call it a BB unit, but anyway.
We're talking
the other
about
three characters. My favorite protagonist, Poe Dameron, played by Oscar Isaac. I wanted to see more of this character.
Yeah, they actually originally killed him off, and that's why he comes back randomly at the middle of the movie there, basically.
But I see
as soon as I saw him, I was like, something tells me I'm really gonna like this guy.
Wedge Antilles.
Yeah.
From the original movies, Wedge.
Yeah.
He's there for a lot of stuff. He's there for the original strike on the Death Star. He's there for the Battle of Hoth.
He's a better Wedge, pretty much.
That's what I'm saying. Is like he's a new pilot. That's a pilot. He's not like a Force adept. But he's just a great pilot. Whereas Wedge was like always there for different stuff. He never died. He was always a great pilot. This new guy Poe is like the new Wedge. Yeah. So therefore he's there with him.
Between Wedge, Han Solo. He's a little bit of Han Solo, and he's a little bit of Lando Calrissian.
I don't know about the Lando part.
Because he's kind of suave and a little Wedge.
Sure, but
like the moment we.
But still, I'm talking about pilot aspect.
First. You talk first.
I'm talking about like pilot aspect, like just him piloting. Like sure, like we need somebody who's a good pilot.
Yeah, they even say
you can't rely on all the main characters to do everything.
Yeah, and they don't bullshit.
You gotta have some like side characters be like, hey, you know what? I can pilot this shit. I can help you do this bombing run. Cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, whereas like where like Echo Base, I found them. Like,
yeah.
Like you need to have somebody who's just a normal person who's just a good pilot.
I don't really think we got Paul's take on.
Poe
Dameron.
Paul loves Poe.
Well, everyone loves.
I love pretty much all the new characters. I think my favorite might be Finn.
Finn is a fantastic character.
The good thing about Finn that I like is that he just consistently fails, but he just keeps going. Like
I'm surprised how funny he was. Like he even
he's
brought
good.
up like the funniest line where it's like, "We'll use the Force." That's not how the Force works. I am laughing my ass off in the theater when I found that out. Just him and Poe Dameron, when they had more character and chemistry in 4 minutes than what Anakin and Obi-Wan did in 3 movies.
More or less, yeah. It's kind of sad, but that's true. It's true.
Let's talk about the main character. Or before that, there was one character I forgot to mention.
The main character?
Maz Kanata.
I was kind of underwhelmed by Maz, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I wasn't expecting her to be like Yoda.
There's deleted scenes where she actually has the Force.
Yeah, where she uses the Force.
Yeah.
She's not a Jedi, she's just Force sensitive, basically.
Yeah.
But
like
yeah.
Leia.
Yeah,
she's not a Jedi, but she's familiar with the
Force. Well, Leia chose to be the leader of the Resistance, and rather than be.
She could have easily.
Well, no, she could have been a Jedi, but I think she chose to run the Rebels, whereas like Luke had to do the Jedi stuff.
Yeah.
No, she could have, but I think I think she even said Carrie Fisher said in a statement that Leia chose that.
I would love to see Leia kick some ass like a fight.
I would have loved to see Leia do a lightsaber fight.
Just fucking going berserk on Stormtrooper. But let's talk about the main character, Rey.
She's interesting.
One of the most interesting, fascinating, most unique, and
The thing is that Cage and I talked a lot about this already to some degree already on the podcast. So I'm trying not to be too repetitive here. But the main thing is that I like Rey a lot. I think she's a cool character. I think she's she's constantly doing the best that she can in a situation. She has to keep herself going because that's what she's been doing for like the last 15 years or so. I assume she's up there somewhere. But yeah.
Not to mention Daisy Ridley just dropped that fucking gorgeous.
Oh my God.
That always helps, to say the least.
I know.
The nitpick.
Sexy female protagonist.
I want to bring it up to Dan.
More movies now.
I want to bring it up to Dan because I haven't talked to him about this. I know I talked with you guys.
Stay quiet.
No, but
I know the question.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, like she's not wearing like some sexy ass, like stupid, ridiculous bikini. It's like impractical and metal.
She just wore.
I like a woman in robes.
She's showing practically nothing and still. Awesome.
Yeah, being great looking. Yeah.
Any other reality
Hey,
star?
honestly,
today.
in my mind, a woman is so much sexier when she has a lot of clothes on, because then it's like the mystery, and then it's like, if I get to take that off of them, then that's the whole like mysterious part about them. Like, no, it's like, all right, you're fully clothed. Like when they start to take it off, you're just like, that's right. Like
For me, it sounds.
it's like level up. Like that's right.
KJ McDermott, he sees every woman as a present.
Shut up!
For me, it may sound corny, but I think that
If you're in a
Her biggest
bikini, you already know what you
feature
got
was-
working with.
her eyes and her smile.
No, she's got one of the
Every
best
time
smiles
she
ever.
smiles, I'm like, she's so adorable. But you wanted to tell me.
Well, I just want to say this is the big nitpick that everyone's
Yeah.
going on about. I've talked with this about KJ and Tom off the podcast, but
The fact that she's apparently a quick learner and that easy.
well, the thing is,
Let him say it.
There's
yeah.
no Mary Sue.
No.
Yeah, no.
I'll say it.
no, okay,
I'll say it.
but Dan did say it. People say that she's a Mary Sue. Now, me personally, I like her character. I think she's just quick and smart, and she's obviously. I mean, the theory is that she's going to be that she's Luke's daughter, so she's very powerful with the Force. And if we go by the way the series goes, Anakin was powerful, Luke was more powerful. So by that definition, Rey would be even more powerful than Luke. So she picks up the Force very quickly. That being said, I do admit to the criticisms. For anyone who doesn't know what a Mary Sue is someone who just has things happen to them, is good at everything, and doesn't have like a lot of problems. Or if they do, they're solved almost immediately and very quickly and without any real issue.
Yeah, you know who else had that? Luke Skywalker.
Well,
I would say
He was a Gary Sue.
Luke had Obi-Wan to teach him.
yeah. The thing is too, and
Think about it.
this was the
Even on the
counterpoint.
spaceship on the Millennium Falcon, Luke was being taught by Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was teaching him.
Barely.
Oh, I can't see
Yeah.
shit with the blast shield down. Like, oh, use your Force. Like, even like after Obi-Wan died, he's like, use the Force, Luke. Like, don't use the guiding computer. Use the Force. Obi-Wan was there teaching him. Rey doesn't have that. I can see where Paul's coming from,
Yeah.
but I still disagree with it.
No. I mean, again, I'm not of that opinion. I'm just saying this is an opinion that's out there.
I
But
do have some kind of theory about that, where I have a theory that Rey actually did know about the Force when she was a child, but she was mind wiped, and that she.
can I ask about that, because I don't know if the Jedi. I know the Jedi can put you to sleep, but do they have that ability to mind wipe you with the Force?
Well,
Yeah,
Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones showed up, and they just went like, "Phew," and they were just like, "Oh, we erased your mind." Like,
No, but
you're aliens, we can
reason
do
why I
that.
bring
Men
that-
in Black, yeah, sure.
You know Rey's vision when she's like seeing all that
Yeah.
crazy shit? If you listen closely,
Excuse me.
you can hear Obi-Wan's voice saying
Both, yeah,
Rey.
they both had a Guinness and they both had,
They both had a Guinness?
Alex
Good for
Guinness
them.
and McGregor. They
Oh,
Yeah.
I was joking.
Well, Alec Guinness.
said-
didn't come back.
Yes,
And he even-
back from the dead
and he even
to
says
come back and voice.
He's taking your first steps.
Yeah.
Something he said very similar to Luke, which she.
You've taken your
probably-
first step into a bigger world,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
But
Now,
also, here's the thing. Obi-Wan is a complete douchebag. That's undisputed. He is a douchebag. He could easily be solving all these problems. And maybe he could be watching the wings as Rey's doing her things, and he could have
Well,
come through and
he's
is like,
dead.
you know what, I'm going to be busy on my iPhone equivalent here and do whatever. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
First steps. You're doing great, kid. Let's,
but the reason
No,
what I was going with when she was.
I don't know how much
going on this
interference
stuff, when she
Jedi
got that
Ghosts have,
vision,
but
when she had the lightsaber with all this stuff going on, when the Force is mentioned, I can show you the ways of the Force. And she's thinking
but
now
Dan,
she's powerful, hence the Force awakens.
No, but Dan, see, the thing is, you mentioned Luke Skywalker as an example against Rey. See, the thing is, the difference is, now granted, I think they did this to some degree not to Rey because they didn't want her to seem like someone that constantly messes up, but Luke, if you watch the original trilogy, Luke fails pretty much as consistently as Finn does, like all the time. He needs to be saved constantly. He needs to be saved by Han Solo, but both in the Death Star and from the Tauntauns on Hoth. Even when he beats Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi, he still needs to be saved by his dad afterwards when the Emperor is killing him. Now, I'm not saying they had to do that for Rey, but what I'm saying is that Rey does not have that much conflict. Even when she's getting mind hurt by Kylo Ren, she fights him back almost immediately. KJ, what did you want to say?
You've heard me say this to you before.
Yeah, I know. You can say it again.
My same argument. I'm just going to say it again. Like, you've heard it. I agree with what you say about Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker, but then again, had his parents. He had parental figures. He had parental figures. He was adopted. Whatever.
Yeah.
He grew up with people teaching him. Rey,
she's self-sufficient.
From what I gather,
yeah.
She's self-sufficient on her own. She was left there. She's had to, even in the first scene that we see her, she is doing her own shit to survive on her own, to salvage this
scrapyard
destroyer, like to take out, to dismantle it, to get the parts that are worth money, to go over and get food. And like that, like she's been doing that her whole life. So therefore, my theory is that she is self-sufficient. Whereas Luke Skywalker had a kind of like a safety net. She had not. So therefore, she knows how to do stuff on her own. So for you to say that I'm not picking apart your thing.
I don't think Rey is a Mary Sue. I just think that's the opinion of others that are coming out.
So for her to pick up things quickly, that's what she's been learned to do her whole life. It's because she has to. It's because it's the survive or die. Like, she has to pick shit up quickly because she was by herself. She had to pick shit up because she had to be like, oh shit, like, I'm a mechanic. I can do this shit or else I'm going to die. I'm not going to eat. I'm going to die. Like, so therefore, her picking up new stuff comes her way. She's like, shit, I better master this as quick as I can.
So she's used to it, yeah.
So, for you to say that, like, oh, she picks stuff up too quickly.
I'm saying that's what
that's how she was raised. Like, well, not raised. That's how she raised herself.
Yes.
So therefore, she has to learn. Like, new shit is thrown in front of her. She doesn't just look at it being like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm doing. She looks at it being like, how can I figure this out as fast as I can to master it?
Okay.
That is my theory.
No, that's your argument, and I agree.
Make a lot of sense.
That makes sense to me, right?
Yeah, I wanted to mention one part that I absolutely loved about the beginning, how she has that kind of home. It kind of felt like a little bit.
Well, she's fucking rappelling down inside of a burnt out Star Destroyer, and she knows exactly the engine part she needs to go to. She knows what's worth money, and she goes down there and just was like, oh, I need to dismantle this, I can take this out, cool, pocket it, I'm gonna leave now because everything else is shit. And then she goes like, oh, I need food, can I sell this for food? Like, so her entire upbringing is obviously a mechanical background. She knows ships, she knows what to do because that's how she was raised. She's a scavenger. Scavengers know how to survive. Right. And so therefore, when new things, like, she learns that she has the Force, you're saying she picks up on the Force too quickly? Like, no. She learns on a new ability, and she's like, alright, I've got a new ability. I need to learn this ability as quick as possible, because this will help me survive.
Right.
It's like, if all of a sudden you're thrown into a, you have all this knowledge of car repairs, then all of a sudden one day you're stuck in a car repair shop, and you're just sitting there just being like, I know all about cars, I've never used it before, but I need to rebuild a car. You'd immediately be like, what does this do? Like, I'm gonna try to fix a car. You would try and do that.
Alright.
And Okay, sorry.
No. I mean, I just want to say,
Like 3 hours long.
I just want to say I think this is good discussion. I think we've gone on 20 minutes about one
I feel
movie
like the
again.
majority of this, it has
Sorry.
happened.
I think we want to say that Star Wars is the best movie of 2015 as far without just the fact
Yeah.
that it's just an entertaining film. It met most expectations.
And for 2016, it's gonna be Pirates of the Oh wait, no.
No, let's not, don't even joke.
Wait, is Iris there?
God. Anyway,
Go ahead and take my
2017.
Chanel on my
Nope.
watch.
that's our best of 2015. We hope you guys enjoyed the almost 2-hour podcast. Hopefully, this can be loaded up online. Anyway, I hope you guys had a
If
good
you
year.
made it this far, you get a gold sticker.
If
I
you
will
made it-
personally come to you and give you a gold
Don't
sticker.
promise that.
If
We don't know
you-
that,
I
of
will
course.
promise that. If you made it this far, honestly, message me on Facebook. I will give you a gold sticker.
All right.
You know what? I will fly out there to give them a gold sticker.
If you made it this far, you are a fucking trooper.
There
Alright.
you go, gold sticker.
You guys, hopefully you guys had a good 2015. We can't wait to see if you have a good 2016. We wish you the best. Happy New Year, and that's what we got, right? Okay.
Bye.
Latest.
Adios.